ready, Brian?
Hello, hello, hello. We are live.
You didn't even give me a chance. Welcome to News and
talking.
Welcome to News and Nonsense at Noon. I'm Auntie AK, aka Queer Jamfi, aka the auntie of all aunties, and I'm here with.
I'm Farrah, your resident Caribbean queen.
I am Nana, aka the Black Fairy, aka Dark and Lovely.
Hello, hello, and good afternoon. Because the world is literally going to hell, and it really is going to hell, we thought we'd bring you the news our way. We'll dig through all the news and nonsense out there and give you our take on it. We're here to help you separate the wheat from the chaff, the sap from the crap, what you need to know from what you don't. But first, please, Nana, what do we need to do? What do they need to do?
You need to put the like button on entry, please, as you come in. Please do that and share the video as well. Now.
Yes. Also, Farrah, what else do we need help with in the comments?
You also need to subscribe. What you'll need to do is we have 2 tiers. You can be a friend of ours, just pop in and say hello and be a friend, and that costs you $1.99. But if you want to be family and get family things, meaning group chats, extra content, blah, 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 it costs you £4.99, and it is still cheaper than an English bag of chips.
And also please get involved in the comments. Let us know what you want us to discuss, as well as commenting on what we're discussing, and it's going to get juicy and meaty today. And also, if you've made it this far, you need to know that we are sharing our opinions. We are not experts. We are sharing our opinions, and we barely had time. We barely had time to research everything. It's just our opinions. This is the Ultimate Aunties WhatsApp group. You want actuals and factuals? Ask TLC or Google. Any links shared are for you to go forth and figure it out your own damn selves. Thank you, please.
That's it.
Sorry. Hello, good night.
We will get there. All right, guys. Look, we had a story lined up, but we need to get into some. Oh, actually, no. Let's see who's in the chat. Welcome. Hello.
Okay, roll call time, people. All right, we have Gilda, who came in bright and early, telling everybody to book that like button. Yvonne is in the house. Simmer is here. Little Rock is with us. Body Gang is in the house as well. Will Smith is with us. C is in the house. Who else is here? You guys are having a right old little tune, man. Sora is in the house as well. And Ashes to Ashes. Hey, girl. Everybody come into the chat. Say hello. Familiarize yourself.
Mo Beezy and Dion Morris as well up in the house. So thank you for joining us on time. Okay, so look, guys. Past 2.
Also, we do have a few people on Instagram watching us as well. So howdy to Instagram.
Hi, Instagram gang. Thank you for watching over on the gram. Okay, look, guys, look. I think 2 weeks ago we had a guest. We had our wonderful midday Oni on, and it was great. We had great conversations. We spoke about Black British culture, and we spoke about food, and it's all gone a bit Pete Tong in the world. We've got a lot of, well, I don't know. Look, we said, I should have lined up the clips, actually. What I will do, yeah. If you guys explain what we were speaking about, I'll try and find those actual specific clips.
So Keith Lee, the food content guy, came over from America, and he was going around London, and I think he went to a couple of other places, trying out the local cuisine. And there were some people complaining that, why isn't he trying out British food? Why is he always going to Trinidadians or to Caribbeans and to Africans? I've not seen him have any British food. So we spoke on that, and we said, well, he did have British food because he went to Black British places, and Black British places incorporate, traditional African and Caribbean and South American and all this type of food. And
let's play the clip
for our cousins.
Let's play the clip from the food reviewer. He's over here from America, and apparently in some of his comments, Americans are pissed off that he's not. They're saying like, where's the British food that you're eating? Because he's enjoying Trinidadian food and he's going around all the restaurants. And
fuck off! Because he does that in America. I've seen him.
No. He has had British food though.
Yeah,
he has.
There's all these.
But about that particular comment, he does that in America. He doesn't only eat like whatever he doesn't only eat soul food. And even things like even what is American food. But if you think about that, it's the influence from the Africans. That's what
other communities
and other communities. But it is the influence from that. But because they want to separate themselves so much from that, Where do you think this shit comes
and I think
from?
there's a misunderstanding to what they don't understand that actually they don't understand that we have our own version of soul food. That, and though we call it, we might say it's African food or Nigerian food, Ghanaian food, Caribbean food, Grenadian food, and traditional dishes. We have soul food over here. Soul food isn't exclusive to Americans. We just don't call it soul food. But it's about education. If you haven't had these conversations, you're going to ask these questions. Keith Lee. Right, so my little comment, not little because it's a big comment, where I said that soul food, that we have our version of soul food. What I meant, and because I mean, we've definitely had Black Americans correcting. There are a lot of Black Americans who are incensed. I will play a clip from Tariq Nasheed and another guy called Adonis to show
into what you meant though, and then you can contrast.
No, that's what I was going to say. That's what I was going to do. So what I actually meant, I'm just going to read because I made a comment. I wrote a comment on our page. What I meant was that I said a version of, because of the crossover influences. Black people the world over cook from the souls, from the heart, the history, the culture, the spiritual, the family, the ancestry, all of that, and our portrait and pain and trauma. All of that is infused into our food, which is why I said it's a version of soul food, not trying to steal the name or appropriate it. But if a Black American came to the UK, I'd say if you want Black food or something that would relate to their soul food, and take it from there, which I have done. Like, I'm not saying that soul food as the world understands it is what we have in the UK. However, and I've seen it in lots of explanations from Black Americans, that it comes from the struggle and pain of slavery. It's about love, it's about spirituality. That is everything I even said before I saw people's comments, because no matter what, Black people are known the world over for the way we cook and the way that our food is it's like it tells a story of our journey. That is exactly what soul food is. The only thing I'm going to say about the word soul, which might cause more problems, is that the word soul, we all have souls and we all cook from our hearts. So what it means can also relate, but I'm going to give it to you. You guys, soul food is yours. Have at it. But anyway, just like fucking hell. But okay, then
I'm just going to say one thing. Slavery wasn't only in America.
Yeah.
It wasn't only in America. And the way that Caribbeans cook and the things, our food is different, but there are similarities. And it's called Caribbean food because we were in the Caribbean, right? And there are things that we experienced too. We were also given the scraps of food, which is why we made certain things, because that's what the masses gave us in the Caribbean as enslaved Africans in the Caribbean. That was our experience as well.
You know what the thing is? There was a really poignant point that somebody put on TikTok that I think is being lost, especially in the enslaved people and what took place, that all of the different land masses that all have names now were British colonies or Portuguese colonies at one point. So they didn't have, it wasn't Caribbean, it wasn't, they were under umbrellas. So the same shit that took place in what is known as the United States of America now was taking place in other land masses, the same journey. So then the cuisines, when you travel or you eat from different places, you see that there are lots of similarities to various dishes in West Africa. Trying to erase it, which seems to be what a lot of people in our comments are doing, they are trying to erase the links that binds us together in our similarities, and we can call it inherited, you can call it transported, all the different semantics that people are jumping around, but they're trying to remove themselves from African roots. And that seems to be the fundamentals of the disdain that is in our comments. It's like there's no ties because there's no African influences in soul food. There are so many people that are jumping on like it's way more native. And there was lots of people being like, name a Native American, name a Native Indian dish that you know. Name one. Nobody ain't saying nothing because you don't know. But it seems that there's a real trying to erase their African lineage. And you know what? People can self-determine what they are. If you don't want to be African anymore, cool, because not all skin folk are kinfolk. And I doff my hat to them. It's like, you know what? If you want to be a foundational Black American. Do your thing, boo. Like, okay.
Yeah.
You know.
So we had Tariq Nasheed, an old school kind of. Back in the day, he was kind of. I actually don't know where he sprung up from. But I remember back in the Facebook days, he was very popular around Dr. Umar's initial days. He came up around those moments, and he again, like Dr. Umar, he's controversial, Marmite. Sometimes what he says bang on the nail when it comes to blackness and representation. Other times it goes woo woo way way, and then you don't know where you stand with him. He's got this show, Tariq Radio, and a friend of mine sent this and said he's talking about us. So we made it to America. Literally seeing my face up on this show was like wild. And about that's what he was saying. I haven't bookmarked, so I'm just going to skim through some of the things that was being said.
And traditional dishes. We have soul food over here. Soul food isn't exclusive
to America. That?
Yeah.
Do we have any Africans here? Maybe I'm naive, okay? What the hell is the African version of soul food? And what did we get from Africa to make our soul food? Do we have any African brothers and sisters here? I would love to be enlightened, because the women said that shit, but they never really elaborated on it. People throw stuff out there, and then when it's time to elaborate, they go duck and hide. Just like when Fat Joe was like, yeah, hip hop.
Shall we explain? Shall I go through the foods that were transported over?
Absolutely.
Yeah, because I actually feel like I said something.
Hold on one second.
Answer his question.
Anna, 1 second. Just by the way, the inflammatory and gaslighting and bait clicking picture that he used of one of the I'm not from this dish. I'm not from all the African countries I'm not from all the African countries on the continent of Africa. There are 54. So I don't know where this dish comes from. But he used the most unappealingly looking dish ever to then say this is African food. By the way, it's very misleading and inflammatory. But go ahead, finish what you were saying.
Okay. So you can just start off with the rice that was imported to America came from Africa via China to Africa, because they had been dealing with Chinese people way before anybody tried to come in and colonize the Portuguese or the British in West Africa. So there was rice that came from Africa, that came on the ships, came from Africans. And then you also have okra as well, that was imported from Africa and added in. There was also the way that the chicken was prepared is very similar to how lots of Senegalese make their chicken as well. That also was an influence. Like you have like it's actually like jambalaya is actually used in African language as well. Again, very prevalent in New Orleans and Louisiana. Like there's so many different influences, but when you even go on what goes into making soul food, a lot of the ingredients came via Africa. So that in itself is a huge influence.
Well, Tariq,
this is why, sorry, this is why I said, I think I might have said it on the pod as well. It's also the way that we prepare our dishes. That came from somewhere. We didn't just land in the Caribbeans or whatever it was called, the British colonies at the time, the Portuguese colonies, and just decide this is how we're going to do things. We were given very minimal amounts of food from the slave owners, as I've said, and the way that we prepared them and the way that that's been passed down was passed down from our ancestors. That's where it came from. We used the things that we had around us, but how the nature of it came from that. It obviously evolved and developed, but the nature of it came from that. That's why I always say, like, there were a lot of similarities amongst the Caribbean islands, and we weren't all together.
And I think, look, and because I mean, I've read, there's a lot of educate yourself. So I'm like, okay, cool. The lived experience I can't talk about, but I definitely have grown up reading a lot, and I don't know how else I can educate myself without reading. So I've read a lot, and there's lots of documentation of how slaves brought from Africa used to hide seeds, spices, and things in their hair and on about their person in a way to then keep some of what they knew over, bring to wherever they're going. So they had a bit of home in their new land. That is what actually, I've seen it, and it's not written by British scholars or white scholars, African American scholars or Black American scholars have written about this. So then what I don't understand, and I'm sure that not everybody is FBA and ADOS identifying. So not every Black American is saying the same thing. Not every Black American agrees with this conversation. But I don't. So I would like to really understand if anyone is an FBA or an ADOS and adheres to these kind of this new kind of speaking. What is this thing about disassociation with, or delineation is what they're calling it? Like there's a stark need to separate from Africa. I don't know where this bit will land, but this show also had people calling up and talking about their anecdotal experiences. I don't even know if it's worth playing anymore, but I can do. Okay.
I say let's go to the other guy because Adonis Live probably started it. He did his video soon after ours came out. It's actually, I think it's maybe 3 days old. So he seemed to jump on that clip immediately. And that's when our numbers of comments spiked up dramatically from this guy.
All right, here we go.
Soul food. Soul food comes from the South. It came literally. Yo, bro, hold on. This is what I've been saying. They don't know us. They don't know our history. They don't know what they're talking about. How can they sit down and try to put claim to? We have our own version of. It's not soul food then. It's Nigerian food. Yeah, but you can't abbreviate what the meaning of soul food is just because it fits your particular narrative of what pushes up with the narrative that you're trying to push. You can't do that. That's not how that works. You can't change the name and the lineage and the story of what soul food is and then say, yeah, but we have our own type of. No, you don't. It's not soul food. Soul food has a history that comes with it. Soul food means something. The word soul in general, you know what? This is one of those, if you haven't liked the video yet, before I said this, if you haven't liked the video yet, give this. That's what I was saying about this. These are older women who are influencing this toxic, negative type of ideology who's not only taking the history away from, and this is why I said earlier before, when I see all these European people doing the They're Not Like Us live performance dance to it, I'm saying this is what they do. You know, they take our likeness. They don't learn the history of where it comes out. They don't learn where it originated from. And then they run, act like they can appropriate it to whatever they want. It's just a dance. It's just a song. It's not for us. You can't sit down and say that soul food, we have our own type of way of soul food. No, soul food comes from a history and a lineage of, you know what? I said, I could break this down to you guys no matter how many ways I break it down to you guys. You guys generally won't understand at all because you're so stuck in me being wrong or us being wrong and y'all being right. So you know what I said? I said, you know what? I'm going to go to ChatGPT. I went to ChatGPT. Now I said, let's make sure, let's see if the AI can do it better than they can do it. So I typed in ChatGPT, is the term soul food from America? And this is what ChatGPT had to say. Yes, the term soul food originates from the United States. It refers to traditional African-American cuisine that developed in the southern U.S., particularly during the time of slavery and Jim Crow era. The term became popular in the 1960s during the Civil Rights Movement as African-Americans embraced and celebrated their cultural identity. Soul food includes dishes like
pause it. I want to hear him talk. Pause it a second. Please pause it. Okay. Firstly, it says African American cuisine. Okay.
Yeah.
No one's taking it away from you, from the Americans. No one's saying it isn't American, but the African influence is what we were talking about. That's the part we were talking about. I'm just going to go through these things at the bottom. Soul food dishes include dishes like fried chicken, Caribbean, collard greens, Caribbean, cornbread, Caribbean, macaroni and cheese, Caribbean, black eyed peas, Caribbean. And all of those chitlins, it's chitlins. We don't do chitlins necessarily, but we do like.
But you do cook with. We do cook with.
Yeah, there's exactly. There's different types of gizzards and things like that Caribbeans cook. And I'm only saying Caribbean because Caribbeans again were also slaves, and the influence of the way that we cooked came from our lineage, like he keeps saying, from Africa. No one's saying that you don't have and you haven't developed your own way of cooking. Nobody is saying that. Nobody. You did, and it's the word that you used. You said version. You didn't say it is this. You said version.
That's the remix.
He needs to go brush his tongue as well.
I mean,
Farrah.
He does.
And also, he said, I think there's one more thing that he said, and I don't know if it was all of it. Let me just check.
Details of soul food because it comes with a history. You cannot just culture, and this is where it comes down. Like I said, this has nothing to do with the Caribbean people that are in the Caribbean islands. You are not like the people in the UK. And this has nothing to do with Africans who are in Africa. You have nothing like the UK, nor Africans on the global stand. We're talking about the UK and specifically. So understand detach, disassociate, delineate from these group of people and understand what I'm saying right now. The United Kingdom is known for its one particular thing, and that's what? Colonization, which is a nice way of saying stealing and thievery. Now they changed, it seems like they changed their direction on who's going to be the colonizers at this moment in time. With Black culture becoming one of the most prominent cultures throughout the world at this moment in time, they said, you know what, let's institutionalize our melanated community and start allowing them to colonize other people's cultures and stick the white man's label on it. You cannot stick the white man's label on other people's cultures and call it Black British culture. That is disrespectful.
No, wait.
African culture and African food and African stuff is African culture. Show respect. That has a long line of history of how they even acquired those flavors and tastes to be able to make the food that they have and the culture that they have. Caribbean's the same way. They went through a whole lot of difficulties to even come up to the situations where they actually have these opportunities to make these identifiable culture norms. You cannot take that to the UK. And I understand, yeah, your parents come from Caribbean islands. Your parents come from Africa. You didn't. You didn't come from those particular places. So you have to make your own particular culture or your own particular identity while being in the UK. And yes, you can call and give homage, in which I expect you to, which I'm suggesting you to. Give homage to the people that you have these acquired tastes from, but stop labeling it as over here in the UK, we have Black British culture and it's African, Caribbean, and American. No, that's just stealing other people's shit and putting a white man's label on it. That's not how that works.
That's what I wanted you lot to hear. How
stupid he literally sounds. Because how did you come up with African American culture? How did you do it? Did you pluck it from the air in a vacuous, we have culture now? It's precisely exactly the same way. It's from our homelands, it's our influences, it is mixing together, and you fuse, and then you come up with a different type of symbiosis, which turns into Black culture here. Even adopting the title of Black British definitely is slightly problematic, but here we are. Everybody goes through iterations of titles. Like before, it was coloreds, it was the Negroes, and then you had the African Americans. Now you want to be Black American, and then you want to be. We go through different labels, but it is an amalgamation of our cultures. Now, to be like that stealing is so utterly redundant.
It calls us colonizers.
It's so stupid.
I commented because I was busy last night. I was in the comments just trying to school some people, and I wasn't being disrespectful. I was because I don't do that. I'm just going to be, let's talk. But one thing I said is, like, you know, just basic, simple knowledge. I'm not going to say I profess know everything. In the South, when there was a great migration, when people in the South started moving to northern states to get away from the ruins of civil war and stuff like that, they started to migrate. So the people from the South took what they knew and learned, and the foods and the recipes, and let's keep it about the food, and moved to the South, to the North. I had a comment say that, what do they say? That someone said to me that you haven't been to how about come to America and try soul food? I can tell you haven't had soul food. I said, well, I've been to New York, Miami, and New Orleans, and I have had soul food in all 3 states. And then the person came back and said, not like you can't have soul food in New York because that's not real soul food. Everyone knows that soul food comes from the South. So what are you now saying? Now it's my fault because I've had soul food. The shop said soul food. I went and got soul food. So now it's my fault for eating soul food and not knowing that soul food actually comes from the South. It's too much. It's like trying to move the goalposts. How can we, and another thing that they don't understand, that we're different. We're an early generation of people in this country. I still go back to Ghana. I have been raised in a tradition of that's a mix of what I understand, what I live, my daily lived experience in the UK, but my cultural and heritage traditions from my parents and the country that I still have access to. So you're telling me I should wake up out of my pod, don't do anything to do with Africa and just exist. Just, okay, so what's my food now? What am I going to do now? I'm going to close my eyes and not do anything and pretend that I have no influences. It's so bizarre.
It's the weirdest sentiment to carry forward. Like, DNA isn't data. Like the fact that you can go to various different parts of the world and you will see Black folk, African folk, melanated people, you will see them there. And there are things that you will identify that I've seen in Ghana. That it's the same folk, they're just in another land. And you carry your identifiers, your markers, how you cook, what you see, your dreams. Like people dream up recipes that get passed down. That they dream up what leaves is edible. They dream these up, and that is generational, and it's not even land specific. Like we are so special, and to try and separate it like that's colonization and that's stealing, to say that to another melanated person is so wild to me, and that it's co-signed by thousands, if not millions of people. I have to call it, this is a psychosis. It's wild behavior to have such a disassociation. Like we got to talk about it. We have to actually really address the elephant in the room. What's going on with y'all?
Yeah, I don't understand.
I am just in shock. I'm just in shock because we're being told to disassociate ourselves from our heritage and to just focus on British heritage. If that, or English heritage, yeah. Oh, because if that was the case, right, then surely they would have disassociated themselves from African Caribbean influence as well. Is that not?
That's basically what he was saying to us. He's like, you guys are in a
they haven't. But they haven't. It's filtered down, and it's like he said. What I will agree with. He said it's from things that they've been through. It is. But what did they come? Okay, let's look at it. Things that they've been through. What did they go through? They went through enslavement, being captured from their home place, being taken across the Atlantic Ocean, being dropped off in various places in the Caribbean, being dropped off in various places in America, and trying to hold on to some sort of home, right? And then all of the horrendous things that they went through, they were able to build up and, and be resilient, because that's what we are as Black people globally. We're resilient. So they were able to do that. And it came out in their food, it came out in their music, and came out all these things, just like it came out in all these things in South America, because there's a lot of Black people in South America. It came out in all the Caribbeans, and it came out in Africa. Because it was there anyway, but they still, don't forget that Africans went through a lot of things too, and they were colonized, and the land was chopped up. Let's not forget that, and they were slaughtered. Let's not forget that.
Thank you.
Our lines, so to expect us to, all of our ancestors would be turning in their graves, right? Because they fought. Do you think they fought to make it for us to be arguing amongst ourselves? Do you think that's what they actually thought? Don't you understand that what you're saying, that we're colonizing? Do you not understand that you are still living in a colonized mentality? Do you not understand that? Because if you're fighting amongst your brothers and sisters across the globe about where this seasoning came from, how did you learn to season your chicken? Like, how did you know that you got to wash your chicken? How come all Black people know that? Where did that come from? Where did that come from? Seasoning and cooking your meat. Where did that come? Let's not forget that the Europeans called us savages. Yeah, all of us. They called all of us savages. They say that they taught us things. Yeah, like why? Like I'm just so saddened that in 2025 we are still having this fucking in-house, out-house fight.
I think ludicrous. I think, as IB Chillin says, as a Black American, knowing how white people see all of us, I don't understand how we could see Black people from anywhere in the world as other. It's a sickness. I think what we need to do, yes, someone said that they're Black Americans are very protective of their contribution to the world, to America and to the world, and how disrespected they are. Understand that. So, but I think it's about a conversation. I keep seeing in the comments how Black immigrants in America are disrespectful to Black culture, where they're now saying that so many immigrants saying Americans don't know where they're from, calling them ghetto. There's a whole hate train when it comes to Cynthia Erivo. And I think they remember there was a time when there was backlash against Issa Rae. So anyone that's not foundational Black American or adults, they have a distaste for them, because there's that I think it's a top line kind of rhetoric that, okay, the immigrants see us as ghetto and basic and they don't respect what we've built, and they come over and just take our resources and then abuse us. But then I rarely ever hear Black Americans talking about their preconceived ideas about immigrants, because there definitely was, as the same way we had over here, there was definitely like, you fucking Africans, you fucking Caribbeans, you jungle bunnies, you jigaboos, you African booty scratchers. That was we have had a lot of Black American comedians from way back in the day making jokes about Africans. And we had it over here in the UK too. There was definitely some embarrassment, some derogatory commentary about being African. And we have colorism around the world. And then definitely when you're darker skinned or with a tighter hair, they would disrespect to you because you look closer to what Africans look like. So that was when we're talking about the disrespect, I'm not excusing anyone disrespecting anybody, and I definitely don't excuse anyone who's an immigrant coming to a country and disrespecting the original Black inhabitants and looking down on them. But that's probably anecdotal. That is not en masse that every immigrant that comes to America hates Black Americans. That is fundamentally not. It's impossibly true.
What I will say is as well. What I will say that is important, and I've said this, and we've all said this, and we keep saying the same thing. We keep coming back to this point. The hatred for one another didn't come from us. This is like the biggest tool that has been used against us. You know, as Caribbeans, we were told, you don't want to go to Africa. What's in Africa? You don't want to go there. You know, that's what we were told. So what did you do? You never went there. You didn't necessarily interact with African people until you got to like school, or when people came over here during the Windrush generation, and then they started to interact with each other then. But before then, the British Empire did its absolute best to keep us separated and to feed us in our minds about the experience of what is actually home, what's the motherland. That's what they did. It's only when we started to engage with one another and started to look at each other's cultures and be like, oh my God, like you lot do the same thing that we do, that we understood how close we are to each other. And then we started to make these journeys to the Caribbean, to Africa, and started to see that actually we are so similar. And to America, oh my God, we're so similar. We started to experience these things. This is the thing that they didn't want us to know. They don't want us to be unified. They want us to still be talking about, in this day and age, you're lighter, you're darker, you're richer, you're poorer, you're African, you're Caribbean, you're America. While we're having these fights amongst each other, they're still up here, running things, laughing at us.
And being connected doesn't mean to say you disown where you're from. You can absolutely, I'm going to all day be Ghanaian British. Like, it is what it is. That's who I am. I'm always going to be, my first homeland is Ghana. That is it. It doesn't mean to say now, because if I'm unified with the Black Americans and unified with Caribbeans, I don't know, we're breaking some kind of unsaid rule. So in the comments, someone saying, yeah, we don't need to be divided. It's okay to be different. We were never unified. We don't have tribalism. We have unity. You guys have tribalism. It's very, very fucking wild. And I wanted to talk about even like
you just said that someone in the comments was cussing you for saying that you had soul food in Northern America.
Exactly.
So
it's like,
how unified are you if you're saying that if you have soul food in New York, it's not soul food? Exactly. How really unified?
There's also something like just natural DNA. Because in that commentary with Adonis kissed his teeth. He went, and I said, that right there, do you know how universally Black that one gesture is? And I did not learn how to kiss my teeth from Black Americans. I never heard it on screen. I heard it in my home. I mean, I never
in my house. I heard it in my house.
I heard kiss teeth.
I thought everybody did that. There's certain things as a Black child, until you get out into the world where you're amongst white children, you think it's just normal and standard. Like, oh, you're not going to do that? Oh.
There's a natural thing that we all do when we do. I mean, when you guys do, this is American. If hands up if you experienced this in school. Hands up if you did this in your Black home. We have the knickknacks. All Black old people love a knick-knack.
The tin.
They love the tin.
The butter that ain't butter. The biscuits that aren't biscuits.
We didn't have the internet for me to say I googled it and saw Americans do it, so I did it. My mum wasn't googling nothing. She was born in the fucking 40s. Do you understand?
My gran wasn't googling nothing. My gran
when I'm opening the fucking margarine pot and it's got stew in it, that is not something I learned in Black America.
Right?
It's a universal thing that Black people do. When we see someone running, we all fucking start running. It's a Black thing. We did not steal it from you. When Black people laugh all over the place, that is a Black thing. This is not
as
just,
I said, DNA is data.
Yeah,
it is data. It is storage. It is a shared data source that we all have, and we have melanin in common as well. To try and be like, because you're over there, we're different, is so weird. But to be so like vehement in it, and this kind of like, but y'all hate us. That's what I'm saying is a bit of a psychosis. That if you read Professor Kahindi's book, White Psychosis, and you truly understand what a psychosis is, to see what most people are seeing, but you see it so different because your reality is shifting. That's what I was reading in the comments. I'm reading such a shifted perspective on life, and that you're hated, when it's like, how did you get that? From most Black British people who were raised by your programming and your music, where is there this hate that I just don't see it? It's like, yeah, we are responding to a woman asking a question on what is Black British culture and telling us that there isn't one. And it's like, we're responding to that, giving information. This is what our culture is. If you guys don't know, this is what it is over here. And it's like, yeah, but y'all hate us. Huh? How? Like, why are you being like you're hated? Who else thinks that they are hated and everybody is after them? White folks. So who's the colonialized mind here?
Yeah.
This comment, someone said Black Americans have DNA from multiple continents. We are not 100% Africans. That's true. And the reason why you're not 100% Africans is because you were enslaved from Africa, and then you were, raped. And also, once you were freed, people were free to, well, not free, but you had problems mixing with other peoples. So yes, and also there was the mixing of the Native Americans too. So yeah, you're right. You're not 100. I don't think anyone's 100% anything anymore because of colonization. No. That's what I was going to say. Like even certain Africans, native to Ghana and those places, if they were to do a DNA test, I'm sure there would be some bits from other places, because there has been colonization and integration. So I don't know if anyone is 100%. If anyone in this world took a DNA test, I don't know if they would be 100% anything. There's not even 100% Black people in England.
And Shell 41 is definitely not just rape. No, I don't think anyone's just saying it's just rape.
No. That's why I just said it's not just rape. I just said that. I said and integration. I just said that.
And just natural migration and people traveling.
Absolutely, natural migration
and natural traveling.
I think to reiterate the point in what was taking place in the world within the 1400s onwards, and what was happening in Africa as well. Like our cuisines, it didn't just magic up either. There is systematic different types of wars, tribal wars, as well as colonization that changed our diets.
Yeah.
So again, and that was the connecting the two. There is a history of us all in our various different ways, from as soon as they started to remove us from our lands, and that's in different ways, and cut up different tribes, and tribes had to mix, and you have different cuisines. It's the same practices, and we should be united. And actually, it's a world history. It didn't just happen to African Americans. It also happened to Africans on the continent as well.
Yeah.
To even me saying that I'm Ghanaian, I am not. I'm an Ashanti. And that land of Ghana was cut up and created. It's we've all gone through things. Like when you go through my family's oral history, we were actually vegetarians for a very, very long time. And then meat was introduced because of the various different ways that people had to travel, you needed other sustenance. It's like we need to actually really get into our histories, and then you're going to see, they're very similar. At the same time, our brethren were being taken across and having to survive through oceans. There were people on the continent that were being killed, murdered, abused, fighting wars, trying to get these colonizers out. And being enslaved on their land as well. It's like we're also traumatized, but to be fighting amongst ourselves on, can I say soul food or not, is a wild, it's crazy.
It is.
Like, it's yours. Oh, it's yours. You can absolutely have it. It is yours. Great.
And like everywhere in the world has dishes that are particular dishes that are them. We're not even taking away from that. Like if you go to Grenada, the traditional dish for Grenada is oil down. Yeah, that is something that you'll find in Grenada, right? If you go to Ghana, there's traditional dishes that are very Ghanaian. Like each country has its own particular thing, but there are things that bind us. I can have macaroni cheese at my mum's house. I can go to Nana's house and have macaroni and cheese. I can go to my American cousin's house and have macaroni and cheese. I can go there are things that actually bind us together, and it's beautiful. We should look at these things and be like, oh my God, isn't it amazing how great we are that we've spread this whole entire globe and we've taken these things that are the same. Look at us, we're the same. That's what we should be doing in 2025. Not talking about, oh my God, this is mine only and you're colonizing. How can you call another black person a colonizer? Like, come on.
Okay, so, all right. So then Summervee says, what does a Carter mean? A Carter is a Nigerian. I think I can't which tribe from Nigeria. It's meant to be a derogatory term to describe African Americans. And then Chell 41 says the issue is whatever Black Americans have created, people try to co-opt and claim it. BA hear it all the time that we don't have culture or we do not where we're from. And I think it's all in context. I'm not going to take away from your personal, individual, anecdotal experiences, but it's not the world over. And I think, yes, you can have individual conversations because Caribbeans can say that they've been told by Africans, you don't know where you're from. There's definitely, and that doesn't mean to say that we are saying it's okay. I said it earlier that any immigrant that comes to find a new life in America and then disrespects Black Americans just on the basis of what you think you know about them is wrong. So then come with these examples. We can debunk them. You can have those conversations, but that is not the majority. It's an echo chamber of a small people. I refuse to believe that every single immigrant looks down on Black Americans. And if there is some back and forth, there possibly is some, well, you're talking at me like this, you're talking about me like this. And it's that kind of infighting that we need to try and get rid of. So let's not go there. And so,
go on. I was just going to say, I think we spoke about it already, but certainly when we were growing up, like when we were in primary school, there was a lot of misconceptions about Africans and Caribbeans. There was a lot of in-house fighting amongst us in this country. There was a lot. Yeah. Now you see us integrated like 100%. You know, well, let's say 90% because there's still some idiots out there. There's going to be idiots, but you know, like. I think it comes with time and understanding and appreciating each other's cultures. And I think what's happened over here is that we've realized how fucking similar we are and who the problem is. Because we live here in the daddy of colonization, in the daddy of it all. We live here in Great Britain. And why is it called Great Britain? Because you went around the world clapping people's things. That's why it's called Great Britain. Like, I don't know, man. It's a bit, I feel very sad by it all.
All right, so look.
Look, Sly's got it. Sly is hitting the nail on the head.
Go on.
Because he's come in. Why y'all can't come up with your own name for soul food? You're always copy our style. We can't have nothing to ourselves. Sly, if you need to hear it, soul food is absolutely 100% yours. It is yours. You guys came up with the term. It is African American, Black American, FBA, Ados. It is yours. There is nobody in Britain that is saying we have a soul food unless an African American has come over here and made their restaurant with it. Okay, is that clear? Can you run and go tell everybody that? Thank you.
And also, there's a conversation about we co-opt and steal things. And I think you guys don't understand that. I don't know what. Please, can someone in the comments, because the American cousins and brothers and sisters are all starting to join in. Please tell us what we have taken from you and co-opted and claimed is ours. Because I've never heard a British Black person or UK Black person say that hip hop came from us, solely from the UK. I've never heard anyone say that. I've never heard anyone say, I don't even know what else do you want to. Soul music, as in the R&B and soul. No one's ever said it came from the UK. We have UK soul. We have a tone and a sound that is UK soul, a version of soul. It is a version. We have not claimed that it is. But wherever you go, as we have said, there's a unifying thing that Black people just generally do gravitate towards and like and do. We make music from our soul. However, yes, Black Americans coined the term, created the term soul music. However, it spread across the world. Black people responded to it and made our version. We've even got fucking in America and around the world, we got white soul to the point where soul influenced all these other people. So then what else have you heard us say that we owned, we created?
Shell, again, thank you.
Let me
reiterate the point again. When I was talking about UK drill, it has influenced New York drill. They use lots of New York drill actually uses the drill music that we have here that is actually a fusion of Chicago, but we have put our own spin on it. And New Yorkers actually was like, that's heavy. And they use a lot of UK produced drill beats in their music. That is actually the through line of we share this. In the same way, our garage music is actually blowing up at the moment in California. And they have their own spins on what was created in the UK. That is lovely that we have exports of our fusion of cultures over here that can travel across the Atlantic and be a music scene somewhere else. That is it. Nobody is stealing, taking, saying they created it at all. That is the point.
Yeah, and so, I mean, we all know that Chicago has a big is the motherland of house music. No one's even denied that. We have whole clubs and clubs over here that's dedicated to that. And then you evolve. That's what happens when music is global. Your American Black stars do not cut the UK out of their tours. We go
at all. It's always a stop.
Then maybe there's contention about whether they go to the Africans and Caribbean, but more and more Black American stars are finding their way to African countries and Caribbean countries. But generally, Black American superstars do not cut. I have been going to hip hop concerts and soul concerts, R&B concerts since I was allowed to. My first concert was Prince. He came to the UK. He didn't say, do you know what? You guys, we don't want you to co-opt to appreciate or love our music. No, let's keep it only in America. They toured the world because it's global. And then when you go to a concert, when I used to go to concerts back in the 90s, when the room was filled with Black people celebrating a Busta Rhymes or a Nas or a Mobb Deep, that's because it touched us and we related because we have something inherent in us that relates to what you guys are doing. And then we infuse it into what we're doing in our British Black culture and did our own version. No one said that we created it or invented it. Nobody.
Here is the sentiment again. Your version is hypocritical. Version is the variant of the original. What does that even mean?
What does that mean, Sly? Please explain.
I don't know.
I'm like, Sly, what does that even mean? It's like you're using word salad for I don't know why. Inspired could be what you really wanted to say. Your version was inspired by the original. Sure. Yes. Thank you. Like creativity, I always think it's divine given. It's divine given. Creativity comes from above. It is divine. And when it comes out and it's able to spread and people are inspired by it, that is how the human experience works. And we should be like, that's great. That something that was divinely given to another human being could spread around the world and people use that creativity and spark different genres of music. Should that not be something that we all celebrate? Like, that's amazing. That's how magical we are. But you're calling it hypocritical.
I don't know. What's the hypocrisy? What does that mean? Oh, sorry. I'm not even trying to put up any kind of insults like that because I think that's not helpful. It's like, but what does it mean that we're hypocritical? What does it mean? And also we're told that we don't understand. I don't understand what we don't understand. I go back to not lived experience. But you can, if I say as a dark-skinned woman, I struggle with my beauty, another Black American woman is going to feel the same way. I've had conversations with Black American women about this thing. Another light-skinned Farrah could say, being a light-skinned woman, I don't like being fetishized and people putting me on a pedestal because I'm light-skinned. Another light-skinned Black American woman will say the same thing. And you can have a conversation and relate. And we can have a conversation about being women and how we're treated like objects or we're single women or da-da-da. We have all these commonalities in our culture. Why is it hypocritical, different? We don't understand. I don't understand that. I'm sorry.
How can you come up with your own version, make your own, stop piggybacking off our creations? Sly, I would say that you probably haven't created shit in your life. Because if you was a creative, you actually would want that to inspire people. Like Jazzy Jeff says, leave this earth empty. Put all of your creations out there and let it go to where it goes. Most creatives, and as a thorough creative myself, that's what you want. So you talking about how you taking creativity, I think you're stuck, bro. Let's talk. Do you need an intervention?
Go on. Yeah,
but music is global as well, though. Like if you look at music, right, and you look at the history of sounds like drum and stuff like that, and how it was evolved and where it went to. Where did it start off? Where did it go? It's always evolved, hasn't it? It changes from one thing to another over time, and sometimes it happens in one country, and sometimes it happens in another. There's a lot of reggae influences in a lot of early. I'm going to be very careful how I say this because I don't want anyone to come for me. But in a lot of early hip hop, there are, there's some people who had Jamaican influences and they took that sound that they heard. Even things like sampling music and stuff like that. Like it's been influenced. The influence of somebody like Bob Marley, who once said, "Free yourself from mental slavery." That's a line that he said, isn't it? He was global, wasn't he? And his music has been used globally to the point where you have American artists using his music today.
Yeah. Charles before he wants to, have you all been to America and spent time with Black Americans in the American South? No. But what
have you all been to England and spent time with English people, Black English people, or Black British people?
Have you been to Africa? Spent time with any
Caribbean?
What does that mean?
South America? Have you been to everywhere else in the world where there's Black people?
Yeah, because I mean,
what does that even mean? And if I said yes, yeah, I have. Again, what does it mean?
Because I think
it doesn't mean anything.
It's not taken away from the experience of those in the South. I don't think anything we're saying here removes what happened in the South. I don't think so. And then I don't know what that I also don't know what that means. But also what have you been to? Because I think in one of the comments on one of Tariq Nasheed's pages, someone said we don't even have the same phenotype as Africans. And I'm like, when I went to America, I was like, oh my God, this looks like this person, this looks like that person. I see mirror images in Black people in America. And that alone, that can't be copied. If you're talking about us stealing and copying, I cannot physically steal someone's DNA. I'm not Elon Musk. I'm not a billionaire with DNA disposal and big laboratories. When I went to Ghana, I was like, that's my man from fucking Brixton. That's my man from, that's my girl. When you go to Black countries, you see each other. You have to travel. And then I'm not saying...
There's a comment. I need you to put it up. I think you just spoke about it. No, I need you to put it up.
Which one?
About lineage going back to 17.
Oh, try again.
Something.
Okay. Sorry. Both did it.
Are you doing it? Okay. My lineage goes back to 1797. That's what did you guys just come
Where
from
was it
there?
before?
Okay.
Where was it before? Before 1797, where was it?
Who knows?
The nerve of someone who left their home. Wait. Go on. Continue.
The nerve of someone who left their homeland to migrate to the colonizers' headquarters.
Okay.
But colonizers' headquarters. So, okay, there's two things in here.
Stupid.
Okay.
There's a couple of things in here.
Okay.
Your lineage goes back to 1797. Where were you before 1797? Did your family just appear in 1797? Colonizers' headquarters, I think that now is America. Yeah, because America is the biggest colonizer in terms of land mass. Yeah, because America is stolen land. It belonged to the natives. Yeah, that's the indigenous Americans. That's who it belongs to. So yes, we admit that we're here, living here under colonizers, but we're not alone in that, because British colonized America. America, the rest of the Europeans went to America and colonized, took over the rest of it. Yeah, it didn't start in 1797 when your lineage goes back to. I would really like to know where your lineage was before that. And if you know where your lineage was before that, do you know?
Okay.
Oh, that is so Sly, this is so futile. It's so silly.
Yeah, it's no point.
Actually, so silly. There's not even no point talking to people like that because it's illiterate. People like that are illiterate and don't have any common sense because you don't know what you're talking about. I have time for people that want to talk about it's a conversation to talk about Black culture and where it comes from and how we integrated and what's there. I understand that, yeah. But for somebody to come on here and talk about I can trace my lineage back to 1797, like that was the beginning of time. Like I ain't got time for people like that. You're chatting shit. And you need to remove yourself from this conversation because this is a conversation for grown folks, yeah, who are actually trying to have a debate and come to some sort of reconciliation. What you are saying is nonsensical.
Okay. Yeah? He's American Indian. Okay, fine, whatever. That's a lie.
Okay.
You said 1797.
Some of these says a lot of Black culture comes from the South. Gospel, Zydeco, country, folk, etc. Those genres are not too much in the UK. Country music definitely isn't from the UK. Gospel has gone global, absolutely. And we do have gospel, but yes, a lot of gospel.
That's church, though, isn't it? That's because of church. That's because of religion. That's what that is.
So that's fine, and again, that's not to be denied.
I think it's a bit like, and what is the point? Because nobody is disputing that the millions of African Americans, Black Americans have various different facets to their cultures.
Yeah,
nobody's disputing that. So I don't understand why, in its relative recent migration that we have all come from the 40s, there has been Africans in the UK since the 1400s that is being recorded. They were probably here before, but they shipped them out to not have too much of a Black concentration in Britain, and they took them to Sierra Leone, to Liberia. They put them back in Africa. That's what they were doing. And they tried to make little colonies in Africa, and they did the same with African Americans. And they sent them to Liberia as well.
They did.
To create
and that's why there are two countries.
Of an African community.
Right. There's two countries in Africa that were never colonized.
Yes.
And one is Liberia because that they said, as Nana said, they created a colony of freed slaves, and they sent them there. They said you'll have more opportunity there. And the other place that wasn't colonized, was Ethiopia. Ethiopia fought the Italians for multiple wars. They took weapons. They bought weapons from the Europeans in order to successfully fight them off. They were occupied for about 4 years, but they were never fully colonized. Yeah. So things have happened in Africa as well.
To be fair,
Maya is correct. Sly is not Black, y'all. Let's move on. And sometimes I do wonder about the agents of chaos that are in the comments. They probably aren't Black. But you know what? Adonis Live, he was like, people are calling me an agent. Adonis Live, you are an agent because you're doing the white man's work.
Yeah, it's true. Let's move on, you lot.
Yes.
Well,
we're giving it enough time.
This conversation is going to rage on, but we're always here to set
But it's good to have these conversations.
And that's the bottom line as well. We are open to the conversations. No one is trying to disrespect anybody. Right. So the next
let's move on to what Trump has been up to this week.
Yeah.
Madness. So
Donald, what's his name? I don't even want to. Anyway, Donald Trump has had a madness, basically a tense Oval meeting between U.S. President Donald Trump and Ukrainian President Volodymyr ZELENSKYY erupted into a heated exchange, with Trump accusing ZELENSKYY of being disrespectful and gambling with World War III. So much happened in this. I'll play some of it. It is insane. Have a look, see.
Not playing.
Nothing's happened.
Can you see it?
Can see it.
We can see it, but it's not playing.
It's not playing.
It's not playing now.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, but
here we go.
Was it with respect? I think it's
Yep, and we can hear
Yes,
it.
yes.
You guys, sorry, I can't see you guys. Oh.
Disrespectful for you to come into the Oval Office and try to litigate this in front of the American media. Right now, you guys are going around and forcing conscripts to the front lines because you have manpower problems. You should be thanking the president for trying to bring an end to this conflict.
Have you ever been to Ukraine that you say what problems we have?
I have been to.
Count one.
I've actually watched and seen the stories, and I know what happens. Bring people, you bring them on a propaganda tour, Mr. President. Do you disagree that you've had problems bringing people into your military? And do you think that it's respectful to come to the Oval Office of the United States of America and attack the administration that is trying to prevent the destruction of your country?
A lot of questions. Let's start from the beginning.
Sure.
First of all, during the war, everybody has problems. Even you, but you have nice ocean and don't feel now, but you will feel it in the future. God bless.
You don't know that.
God bless. God bless. You will not have a war.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because you're in no position to dictate that. Remember this. You're in no position to dictate what we're going to feel. We're going to feel very good.
You will feel influence.
We're going to feel very good and very strong.
You will feel influence.
You're right now not in a very good position. You've allowed yourself to be in a very bad position, and he happens to be right about it.
From the very beginning of the war.
You're not in a good position. You don't have the cards right now. With us, you don't have cards. Right now, you don't. You're playing cards. You're playing cards. You're gambling with the lives of millions of people. You're gambling with World War III. You're gambling with World War III. And what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country. That's back to you far more than a lot of people said they should have.
Have you said thank you once this entire meeting? No, in this entire meeting, you said thank you. You went to Pennsylvania and campaigned for the opposition in October. Offer some words of appreciation for the United States of America and the president who's trying to save your country.
Please, you think that if you will speak very loudly about the war, you can...
He's not speaking loudly. He's not speaking loudly. Your country...
It goes on. It is wild. It's insane to watch. It's there's so much lies and propaganda being spoken. I think afterwards I think I've got another video of Zelenskyy apparently being kicked out. I'll just line that up.
Yeah, that's been disputed though.
It has. Well, yeah, it wasn't okay. He wasn't kicked out, but
no, he did leave.
Yeah. It's bullying though. He suffered abuse. He was being abused in front of the world. To have somebody whose country was invaded, and then the week before you call him a dictator and you say he needs to be removed, and then you have him in the country and you deny that you're like, I don't even remember saying this, and then you treat that same person like this in front of the world, it says way more about those two. Like, I was like, this is so disgusting for even just presidents in a space to be talking. It's embarrassing, but also it really, I've been saying Trump is flipping Putin's best agent ever in the world. Yeah. He is destroying an alliance with America and Europe. Absolutely, he is destroying it. People are now getting together in Europe and being like, okay, so we need to get our defenses all up. Yeah, when they start removing American bases from Europe, then we know, okay, we absolutely are one step closer to World War III.
Yeah, this is the beginning.
In the room as well, in the room that of carefully hand-picked reporters, there was a Russian reporter.
Yeah.
Why would you have a Russian reporter? You handpicked these people. Why would you pick a Russian reporter to be there and then to display that type of disdain for somebody who's a president? Like JD Vance, you're speaking to a president. And and you're saying, have you said thank you once? No, I mean in this meeting. Meeting, have you said thank you once? You went drawing cards on him. You went and you was campaigning for the opposition. Have you said thank you once? Like, what's wrong with you? It's crazy to me. And what's even crazier to me is that they're having to go at this man whose country is being occupied, right? By force. There's a war going on, an illegal occupation. That's what Russia are doing. You're having this argument with this man. A couple of weeks ago, You lot's head was so far up someone's bum who is illegally occupying someone's land. You lot don't, I literally don't understand what's going on with you. It's so, they just humiliated him. I felt so sorry for him. And the fact that he was able to even have some kind of composure while he was being abused, as you said, Nana, there was, it was just very, very sad to see it. And like, wild to see.
To stay on this point, because this is like very important, because I have been seeing this rhetoric in a lot of comments from people. Cheryl was saying, as a BA, I can tell you America doesn't care about any other country. While Trump and JD Vance actions were egregious, the American people are struggling, and we cannot continue to give hundreds of billions. And I understand that sentiment, but it's very myopic and actually isn't. It's not based in a reality of how the world works. So America giving hundreds of billions, the same as Britain has given billions, and all of Europe has given billions to defend what Russia is doing, is because it's the same as Nazi Germany. When somebody goes and steals a sovereign land, if you allow it to happen, they keep on doing it. And if America starts backing Russia in doing that, then all of the land, other countries around Russia in Europe can also be colonized in the same way. That is why your last administration was adding money, and it wasn't like we've just given hundreds of billions. It was actually a lot of weapons that you have already. It's not like monetary came out, it was defenses that everybody then, in a way, a world setting actually benefits from, because you develop different military might. And that's what the money was going on. It was going to be spent anyway. And they use these little proxy wars in order to create their military might. Don't believe the hype when they say this money is coming out of your economies. If they literally wanted money, they would start taking money from Elon Musk and the billionaire class, but they don't pay taxes. Let's focus. Let's keep our heads on straight, guys.
I don't know if this is true. I don't know how much more of the meeting that we didn't see, that because Sanka is saying, ladies, you need to see the beginning of the meeting to understand how Zelenskyy then turned the meeting hostile. Does it matter when your country's at war and then you see the person that's supposed to be helping you trying to switch and bait and switch and then take a line with the person that's bombing you? Trump has already called Zelenskyy the cause,
a dictator.
A dictator.
He said
that he started the war. So then why would Zelenskyy be polite? I'm not, as Sistrin said earlier on, this is how the Ukrainians treated the black people that were evacuating. There's all of that. But generally, when we're looking at the world stage and how these leaders are fucking about with each other, we do need to take notice, because we do reside in some of these countries where shit is going to go left. World War III will touch all of us. So we do have to understand
and I think,
what's going on.
In the comments, someone in the comments, we just had it up saying about, Americans are trying to the American public would like to stop giving aid to elsewhere, no matter where it is. Like it's all propaganda, isn't it, about how much aid is given, but they would like to concentrate on their own doorstep. And I totally understand that. But I think you need to question where money is going other than to Ukraine, because this is what's being highlighted at the moment. Yeah. There's a lot of money, there's a lot of billions that are being given to other countries and other regimes in the world that to stabilize the pockets of people like Elon Musk, the pockets of people like Trump, that are not to the benefit of the everyday American person. Same as the British people.
Sanka says, ladies, the war in Ukraine started in 2014 due to them bombing the eastern part that is mainly Russian. Now, there actually was some fighting around there at that time, but this actual invasion that took place in 2022 was Russian might invading Ukraine, which is a sovereign nation. Like, we can't rewrite history as to what has taken place. That happened, and that was why the world rallied round and were supporting Ukraine. Now, we can talk on the merits of them supporting or whatever, but that's what to say Ukraine started it. When you actually go through the history, it's still the Soviet powers. It's like it's still, they were fighting for their own freedoms, and they were trying to get into NATO because there was a lot of evidence that came via US spy forces that Russia were getting ready to take over Ukraine. Ukraine is very mineral rich as well, so it's always going to be sought after. And that was why it was backed by Europe and America. If it didn't have any minerals or actually it's the land is very fertile as well, nobody would give a shit. Russia could take Ukraine.
Absolutely.
Destiny Love Media.
Because what did we hear when the war first started? What were we being told here in Britain? That everything's going to go up because all this stuff comes from Ukraine. That's what we were being told.
Destiny Love is saying, why should American taxpayers keep giving money to a war that has nothing to do with them? Politics is dirty and this shit is only making the rich richer, which is the bottom line of everything.
Everything.
So
absolutely.
We're the pawns. We are the pawns. I don't know. We also just staying in the realm of like Trump and his strange policies. And we have Elon Musk I think Trump had his first cabinet meeting.
Can I just talk about what Trump tried to do as well before you move on to that?
Yeah.
So Trump was trying to get the Grenadian Prime Minister, Deacon Mitchell, to take citizens to be a country for the immigrants to go to that were non-Grenadian.
Oh, I had that on the list. Yes. I'll find that story. Hold on.
So he wanted to then, like, basically he wanted to do a UK and Rwanda.
Yeah.
Like really?
Yeah.
Why did he pick Grenada though? Like why?
Yeah,
like, why is he
Grenada
randomly doing like?
I don't know. Maybe he was
crazy.
reaching out to more countries, but yeah. So Deacon Mitchell politely declined.
Here we go.
May have something to do with the fact that
ever in the Caribbean or in the diaspora you're watching from. So today I have 3 stories to cover. I want to talk about the second deportation of 2025 of Jamaicans coming from the United States of America. So some report came out earlier this week about 55 Jamaicans to be deported to Jamaica on the 28th of February. The next story I want to talk about is the Prime Minister of Jamaica phone call with Marco Rubio. And the third one I want to talk about is about Grenada. Apparently, Donald Trump administration reached out to the Prime Minister of Grenada to accept deportees that are not from Grenada. And the Prime Minister said, hell no. So
he said, no, thank you.
Let me find out, even though I didn't have it lined up, but yeah, he was like,
he said, no, guys.
Does this man give any extra details?
1 second, I haven't watched it through. Go ahead, talk amongst yourselves.
Yes, yeah, so
I was saying that the guy actually give any extra details, because from the media that I was seeing, there wasn't extra context. Like I didn't understand, is Trump literally going around to countries and being like, look, we've got these 60 deportees that we need to send somewhere. Can you guys take them because their country is not? It's like, what is the methodology behind asking other countries to take people that aren't from there? It seems a bit weird to me.
The public, we're not here. To deport non-citizen of the island. So that is the story coming out of the Gleaner, and it says Foreign Affairs Minister Joseph Andel has confirmed that the Trump administration had made an official request to the government to accept immigrants who are not Grenadians to be deported to the island, but that it has refused the offer. So that is it coming out of Grenada. So it seems like every time we hear a news coming out of the Caribbean that a Caribbean official has met with the Donald Trump administration, whether it's Marco Rubio or anyone from the Trump administration, that there's been a request to take deportees in the Caribbean. And honestly, I don't know what that is all about, but this is something that we've seen it in Turks and Caicos, we've seen it in Cayman Islands, we've seen it in the reports coming out of Guyana, which a lot of people are denying that request was made. And now we're seeing it coming out of Grenada. So there's something going on that I guess the public we're not hearing yet, but it seemed to be a target for the Caribbean islands, for them to send deportees, a lot of illegal immigrants out of America to the Caribbean. And to me, that is crazy, because the Caribbean as a region is already struggling. And if in the United States of America, if they're not willing to deal with those problems in America, what's the incentive for Caribbean leaders to accept deportees? It's one thing to accept, to take the people that leave your country probably when they were a child, go to America, and now they are being deported. That is one thing. That is a different case, because if they're from Jamaica, they're Jamaicans. If they're from, Grenada, they're Grenadians. So the government should not have a problem taking back those people. But to take people that have nothing at all to do with your country, your island, to me, that is crazy. What is the incentive to do that? So sound off in the comment section and let.
It doesn't make sense to me, because it's an extra expense. Or are they doing an incentive like, you take our deportees and we're going to give you like a lump sum, and then they assimilate into your society? I'm not quite getting why anybody would say yes to this. Why would anybody be like, yeah, we're going to take this on?
Yeah, I'm glad Grenada didn't say yes anyway, because America invaded Grenada in the 80s and bombed it. So it's one of the countries that it's bombed since the World War. I'm actually pretty glad that they didn't do that. But I think it is probably, Nana, that they're going to be offering them some money. Maybe they're trying to do it at first without offering them money to try and gain favor. Like, maybe if you do this for us, you're going to be in our favorable books without actually offering any financial incentive. But it also does make me quite nervous about countries accepting this for financial incentive. Where does that money actually go back into? It kind of has that line of corruption.
We watched him bully a man, literally be like, you don't hold any of the cards. Like, basically telling ZELENSKYY to bow down, like, you need to do what the hell we say.
Give me my minerals.
Like that's what he's doing. It seems like that's what he's going to be doing around the world at this moment in time. Now, you start doing that is generally when the world starts getting together and being like, okay, this country needs to fall. That is usually what happens. I don't think America is as mighty. If you're going to start cutting off your allies are then going to start talking to other people that can be an ally. And then you have a world war.
ZELENSKYY was then, I think like a couple of days later, was welcomed with open arms by Prime Minister Keir Starmer, who said to him, we will back you all the way. So after Keir Starmer had his head up Trump's ass, he came back home and was basically being contradictory.
Have you got that on
the... do what you do.
Have what?
Have you got that on the doc, Keir Starmer?
No, I didn't have Keir, so I'll find it.
Okay, well, when Keir was in America as well, which is so embarrassing. I mean, Keir Starmer is an embarrassment anyway, but the moment that killed me was when he brought out the letter from Charles. I'm never calling him King. From Charles, and the level of sycophantic arse licking. That's like, he has never done this before. He really respects you so much, and he would love you to come to the UK again for a banquet. Like, I was literally like, Keir, can you get out of Trump? Yeah, they want to have him over again. It's like, can you get out of his arse, please? Look at how he's sitting.
His Majesty a letter. He sends his best wishes and his regards, of course, but he also asked me to bear this letter and bring it to you. So can I present the letter from the King to
Thank you very much. Am I supposed to read it right now?
Yeah, please do.
I will do.
I've got to tell him what your reaction is, so I need to know.
He is a great gentleman, a great gentleman.
Can Trump read? Can Trump read? Trump can't read.
Oh, that's right. Well, that is really nice. I must make sure his signature's on that. Otherwise,
read it out loud.
Not quite as meaningful.
Oh my gosh.
It is. That's quite a signature, isn't it? Beautiful. He's a beautiful man, a wonderful man, and we appreciate it. I've known him, gotten to know him very well, actually. First term and now second term. Perhaps you'd like to say what that very important paragraph.
Yes, so this is a letter from His Majesty the King. It's an invitation for a second state visit. This is really special. This has never happened before. This is unprecedented. And I think that just symbolises the strength of the relationship between us. So this is a very special letter. I think the last state visit was a tremendous success.
It was.
His Majesty the King wants to make this even better than that. So this is This is truly historic, an unprecedented second state visit. He wants to.
Do you know what? I just want everyone to know. I just need everybody to know that the same way Trump does not speak for a lot of Black Americans, Keir Starmer does not speak for us. He does not speak for us. We did not want the state visit. We do not want the state visit. There were protests about the state visit. We don't want to pay for the state visit. Yeah, we don't want it.
And no one answered this, but it's, you know, this again, parents talking over the kids' head. This is white men and doing their thing because the kids so anti what Trump is doing. What is all this kiss assing? Why don't you have the real conversation? Why don't you have the real conversation about what you guys are doing? Because if you're allied, so strongly allied with Ukraine, why are you sitting and playing in Trump's face and kissing the ass?
Touching him on his shoulder multiple times.
Talk tough. But you
know, they're scared. I don't. It like watching. I mean, Keir is a scaredy cat anyway. Even over here, like he really is. And you see how in our press it was like Keir really like gave it to him, and he was like really hardline, and there was lots of like trade agreements that went in his favor. And it's like when you actually watch what they presented to us, Keir was an absolute pussycat, a pussy actually, a pussyhole.
Pussyhole.
And he literally was just sucking ass and dick all day.
All the way.
Yeah, it's nothing new, Maya. Maya saying UK has always been in bed with the US. Yes, that's nothing new. But it's just like when you see it play out, it just makes you feel sick. It's like literally get out of here. Like it is annoying and it is sickening.
Meanwhile, you're talking about a state visit. Meanwhile, you've got people that are scared to put their fucking gas on because and then they end up freezing in their homes. That's what you're talking about, a state visit. Ugh.
So there'll be mass protests again. I was actually seeing, and Americans in the chat, let us know, because they're not showing these protests, but obviously you can't always believe everything that's on TikTok. Yeah. But I was seeing lots of videos of people protesting in their thousands up and down America. Is that true? Because our media ain't showing us that shit at all. Like it's like he's in presidency and nobody cares a hoot about it. Like everybody is just going along. I wonder if there really are thousands of people all the time protesting Trump. I want to know, is that happening?
It would be interesting to see what's going on because we're not being shown the reaction to this Trump administration, all the cuts that Doge is doing. We don't, and the fact that Elon Musk is literally got his hand up towards Trump back at this point, being his puppet master, and is just kind of having fun and like a billionaire boy with toys. Okay, cool. Alexandra, you're saying there are protests. We're not seeing it. We're really not seeing it.
Okay. Also, Alison is saying, they're protesting mostly Elon there. There are lots of theories that, although it is being presented like Elon is the one that is running Trump, that actually Trump knows of his kind of naivete and gun-ho-ness. And so he's just using Elon to be the face of all of these damning sweeps and culling of departments and the federal government body, and then when that fails, everybody can be like Elon was the villain, where Trump had basically he's just put a really good face to be the villain. So eventually they're just going to get rid of Elon as well, and then he's going to fall out of favor. There are lots of people talking about that. Like Elon should just leave Trump because he's being used.
Absolutely. Well, is it who's being used, Elon or Trump? Like, what's happening?
They're saying that Elon is actually being used by Trump.
Ah, okay.
Probably using each other more likely.
Yeah, I think so. The black busts. I wanted to know who the black busts are because it just feels a little bit. I don't know what's the word. Tokenistic to have Trump and all these white men running the world with these black busts of iconic black leaders. It just seems horrible and icky. But they were saying the bust is Rosa Parks and Martin Luther King Jr. I didn't realize.
Wasn't that for
behind? I was wondering who that. Yeah.
Okay, guys.
Wasn't that for Black History Month?
Let's go to Black History Month, guys, because we have America. So this is to me. We don't do in the UK. We don't have like a moment in Black History. Well, no, yes, we do. Sorry, we do. We do have. No, I was going to say that we don't have people going to Buckingham Palace or
we do
history, but I know as I just realized I corrected myself. We do. We have these kind of we have garden parties. We have these moments in Black history where we have blacks invited over to celebrate, in quotes, Black History Month. How do you guys feel about it? I was a bit perturbed to see this. It was in my mind.
Can't
Your sound started to go funny.
How are you? But let me ask you, is there anybody like our Tiger? How are you? He's the great. Would you want to just say a couple of words, Tiger? He doesn't. He's much more comfortable. Tiger. These are the best people, Tiger. And we have Adam Scott here also, winner of the Masters, one of the greatest golfers in the world.
Hey, it's an honor to be here. It's an honor to be here with you, Mr. President, and to be on the road here with all of you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Go right over there. Thanks, Tiger. Today we pay tribute to the generations of Black legends, champions, warriors, and patriots who helped drive our country forward to greatness. And you really are great people. What a great, nice group of... I have some people in front of me every once in a while with all the problems that are caused all over the world. They're not nice. They're not nice. Many of whom are themselves, including one of the Americans, are going to be celebrating something very important coming up, our 250th anniversary, our nation's founding. And when we do, we're going to look forward to honoring the contributions of countless Black Americans who fought to win and protect and expand American freedom from the very, very beginning. And my good friends are here today, and I appreciate you being. I'm not going to call out your names because Tiger will get very bored. Today, I'm pleased to announce that we will.
It's embarrassing. You're on mute. There wasn't that many Black folk in there, though. Like, I mean, there was many, but actually, I'm kind of proud that there wasn't a lot of prominent figures that we would know.
We at the White House? We back in here? We waiting on President Donald J. Trump? Yeah.
Have you got that video of what's his name talking about Trump? Floyd Mayweather saying he's the best president that he's ever had.
It's on 50s. It's on 50s Instagram where 50 said, "Well, you know the people that used to eat crayons in school. This is where they end up."
I didn't even bother to get it because I was like, "This is enough now." Because also, again, was in my sensitive. We don't want to keep like I don't know what that means. Anyway, I was a bit sensitive.
Well, who were those people that you just showed? Who were they?
So that guy in the front, I can't remember his bloody name, but all through Trump banking, he's a very prolific Black supporter of Trump. He's
a Trumper.
He's a Trumper. He's a proper MAGA. And I can't remember his name, but he's very prolific in socials. He's got a very big profile. Along the time of Diamond and what were their name? Diamond and West. One of them.
The two, and then one of them died.
Yeah, he's along those lines, and he was very prolific at the time, really being a mouthpiece for supporting Trump and denigrating anyone that wasn't a part of Trump. And I think just in the broaden the conversation, we have this conversation over here when we have Black History Month and when we have people taking MBEs and OBEs from the establishment. What does this mean? And is there any room for those who actually do see it for Trump just being Black? Being Black doesn't mean that you're a coon or you're a turncoat or a sellout. If you do support these administrations, whether it's in the UK or in America?
I think that there are people globally, well, not globally, there's people in America and there's people in the UK. And it's good that I'm glad that you mentioned MBEs and OBEs, because there are some people who disassociate themselves from the politics and the history of it all and are just like, oh my God, in this moment, I can't believe that I'm being able to go into this space. It's such an honor to be in this space.
Mm-hmm.
And, and so the Tiger Woods of it all and the Busta Rhymes of it all and all of those people who were taking these medals from President Trump, they're no different to the people that are taking the MBEs and OBEs from the Queen in the past and from the King now. It's no different. Their mindset is, for some reason, they've disassociated themselves. And, if that's what they want to do, that's what they want to do. But there are some people who are just like, I could never do that to my ancestors.
Yeah. I think it's that exactly. It is the same. Because I was thinking, all right, well, I know lots of people that did get their MBEs under the Conservatives. Now, politically, they may never vote for the Conservatives ever, but they will be like, I'm going to go and participate in all of the various things that the Conservative Party are doing in name of the Black community. I guess maybe it's very individualistic, but I also do understand when you are for yourself that you're like, I'm being awarded something. I've been asked to go to this prominent place, and then you can absolutely disassociate from the empire of it all. And that's the struggle that I even have with the term Black British. It's like, I don't want to be associated with Britishness in any way because it's absolutely a foulness that was done around the world. But it's very hard. So what do you go with? Like Black Londoner? It's like, how much do you associate with where you are and accolades that could be given to you from the establishment? Like, really, we're all kind of a little bit complicit in it. It is disappointing, but I struggle with that notion. Not too much though, because you did shit in my homeland, and I feel that I should reap the benefits of the West. But it's the fighting over a title of anything is like, it's dicky.
It's place to be. I'm like that. Celine Dion has said, but the E in MBE and OBE and CBE stands for empire, and I cannot dissociate from that. And that's my views as well. That's what I think. All of the aunties, we've all said that. Like, if we were ever in a world where someone thought that they should ask us, we'd be like, no, thank you, because I can't. I absolutely cannot.
I can't just get excited about being in the grounds of the sorry, I can't get excited about being in the grounds of this establishment or even shaking hands with the king. What does that do for me, my spirit, going forward? We've also had the conversation, like, what does the OBE, CBE, MBE actually do? How many doors does it actually open by having it on your email sign off? Maybe being able to sign a check with and add the MBE or that title onto it. What does it actually do? That every year we have the Queen, now the King's Honours List, and the amount of people that now get these titles, it effectively, we should be living like kings and queens across. We shouldn't have poverty, we shouldn't have issues. All these charities that get this status, all the leaders of these charities and initiatives and things, and who are doing really great work, not to separate the fact that they're doing really great work. What have these titles done for them? Why have things not improved under the name of them getting titles? Because getting this title and recognition should improve your life at the very least. At the very
I would be able to understand it if it did, and I know quite a few MBEs and a couple of OBEs. I don't actually know why you get a CBE, but that's neither here nor there. I can't see anything particularly has changed in their world, but they are able to get more, let's say, meetings in a way. Like, there's small doors, but not like the world, because it's not like that. You know, some really rich people say, you know, there's rich and then you see the really, really rich. It's like they don't seem to step up so far in society. If you were social climbing, nothing seems to change that prolifically for me to actually give up the right to always say bun the establishment. Like, that would bother me to not be able to curse them all the time because I sold out for an MBE, and I didn't even get 10 million for doing it. Like, they didn't even pay me.
When I was younger,
like,
when I
gone.
Well, as I said, when I was younger, when I thought that MBE, all this thing, I thought literally that this would be the thing. The world would be I was like, look at this place. Isn't it neat? I've got this title. And I'm like, you know what I mean? I thought I could soar to the surface with my title. I, as you get older, you're like, like you said, few extra meetings, maybe you might get funding, but you also might not. And
one of the people who has an OBE who really disturbs me is Michelle Charters. And she is in charge of the Museum for Slavery in Liverpool. And I just think that those two things are such an oxymoron that I don't understand how you can be in charge of a museum that's talking about the history of slavery and then go and accept an OB. It's wild to me.
It's called, was it Stockholm syndrome, cognitive dissonance, whatever the case is. It's all of that stuff. Because we kind of for a party, we just throw all the morals out the window. Like,
I'm going to go to the palace.
Or you know, I think I've heard all of the excuses from friends that have received it. It literally is like, I'm doing it for mum, dad, granddad. You know, they came over here, they saw Britain in a different light. It definitely was like the mother homeland for them. And so for me to deny it is, and I'm like, you know what, just there are stuff that I would love for my mum to have not been in agreement with. Like, she wasn't right about everything, and your parents and grandparents can have loved something that they shouldn't have been loving, and you in your wisdom can be like, I'm not going to be party to that because you know better. I would prefer people are just like, you know what, I want those letters after my name, and that's why I did it.
Yeah.
When we had Natalie Campbell on and she was like, I did it for my grandfather, we were nice because she was in our face. But really it is like, chick, you've worked for the royal family. You just wanted the title. Like, let's not lie about it.
And it's like, it's more about being honest about it. And so we're speaking about colonization, colonial ties, and getting rid of the shackles of colonialism. President Ibrahim Traoré from Burkina Faso, who's really making waves in Africa. He's banned British and French style of judicial wigs and marking a significant step in the country's efforts to shed colonial influences. Announcing the decision, Traoré emphasized the need to embrace national identity and reject outdated customs imposed by foreign rule. The move aligns Burkina Faso with other African nations, moving away from colonial legal symbols in favor of local traditions. It reflects a wider cultural revival across the continent where governments are reassessing colonial era influences in their institutions. So I'm just going to play this clip here, if I can get it right. Oh God, here we go. Sorry, it's underneath my camera. Here we go.
Still have judges in Kenya, in Zimbabwe, wearing blonde wig. What is that? What is that? And including some scholars who are lawyers, they are wearing those things. They still wear those things and come and lecture us about decolonization, wearing a wig. Decolonizing Africa starts with simple things. Starts with doing away with apartheid, colonial symbols, and colonial way of doing things. It must, we must, and even if it's not our generation, generations to come, we must have a language that unites Africans.
Yeah.
I mean, we still have judges in Kenya, in Zimbabwe, wearing blonde wig.
It's gone back to the beginning.
Okay.
Yes, gone back.
That's right. Yeah. So that's one of many. Just to read, like Ibrahim's been doing a bunch of things since taking power in September 2022. He's introduced sweeping changes aimed at security, economic independence, and cultural identity. He's reorganized the army and security forces in Burkina Faso, acquired new military equipment, and recruited 10K personnel to combat terrorism. In the agriculture and economy, he's provided 400 tractors and farming supplies to boost food production, launched Burkina Faso's first gold refinery, and suspended export permits for artisanal gold to curb illicit trade. We talked about the judicial and cultural reforms. Foreign policies, it expelled French forces, strengthened ties with Russia and Turkey, and explored a federation with Mali and Guinea. Social policies, he's proposed laws to criminalize homosexuality. That's something to be discussed. And he's considering reinstating the death penalty. That social policies can be discussed. Prison reform introduced rehabilitation programs, allowing inmates to work in agriculture while serving sentences. So Ibrahim is on a mission to kind of reclaim and make Burkina Faso an independent state and not dependent on foreign aid. Discuss.
You know what I saw, because I've always been in support on the headlines of it all and what has been said about him, and I do support some factions of what he's done. But I was watching again Professor Kahindi talking about this new wave that is going on in West Africa, in the French-speaking territories, and then banding together. But what is it going to lead to the full emancipation of all African people from colonialism? And that it's quite military based. If you think of most countries, even if you just go to Ghana's history, that military force generally gets corrupted along the way as well. And so he's like, is this actually starting something new, or is it just another regime that is going to happen in this country? Is there truly going to be African liberation? And can you do it by the same means that you were colonized just by switching out certain things. It's like, actually, how can we reimagine how Africans all live together? And I was like, that's interesting. I welcome the getting France out just as the beginning, but maybe, that we don't get too gassed, just to be cautiously watching.
I'm the same, because I'm concerned about the dictatorship of some African countries and how we have been polluted by manipulation, by colonization, by enslavement, all of those things. We haven't shaken off those shackles. And in Africa, I don't want to speak for every African country, but and again, living over here, what do I know? Because I haven't lived on the land, but from what I see, I'm concerned as well. Just literally probably echoing what you're saying. The military rule, the way that we have a harsher treatment of ourselves and a harsher punishment, and we will kill. We will. The justice isn't the same as in the West, even though we're going through this evolution where the West is starting to become less democratic. We don't have the same democracy guidelines and boundaries in the African countries I know of. So what does that mean for the people on the ground? What does that mean where, yes, you're expelling the West, but what are you thinking about your people? What is the hierarchy? What is the power play? Who do we value and who do we not? Is it still the have and the have-nots? And if that be the case, we're still not going to be liberated, then are we? Because we still have that divide on. Are we going to be like equal footing? Are we going to? What is that? What does New Africa look like?
You know, as the Dark Lineal says, unless the LGBT have a say, then unfortunately not. I want fair treatment for everyone. Definitely. Otherwise, we are no different from the other. And that's the point. It's like, I see all of the celebratory posts, but also I truly want us to think, what does liberation truly mean for all Africans? And what's he doing? Yeah,
and what are those conversations? Because they're saying that he's having conversations with. I think they said he's speaking to a Ghanaian leader, and yes, we want Ghana to be inspired as well, because as you said last week, it's a bit too dependent on the West, and it's a little bit of a puppet. But what are those conversations? I don't know. I'm for it, but I don't want to get too gassed as well. But also, I wouldn't like. There's a town in South Africa that's kind of been popping up and everyone's talking about it. The Afrikaner only town in South Africa's Northern Cape, called Orania, has nearly tripled in population, reaching 2,874 residents by late 2023. The town remains self-reliant, with all jobs performed by Afrikaners, rejecting non-Afrikaner residents or workers. Despite international criticism, Orania has expanded its infrastructure and explored energy independence. In 2025, the town rejected Donald Trump's offer to resettle Afrikaners in the US, insisting on its autonomy within South Africa. Now, this is...
Do you have the video from Wadamaya?
I have a video of the actual man speaking, this guy speaking about the town.
Question, why can't a black person come here? It's not the right question. It's more a question like a marriage between two people. It's an exclusive affair. Doesn't mean you're against anyone else. You take your wife. She's important to you.
Yep.
Or you know, and in your wedding, in your marriage, you're exclusive. Doesn't mean it's not built on hate. It's built on love for our culture. We want to preserve our culture. We want to preserve our traditions, our faith, our language. These are the things that we want to preserve.
But someone might ask, if you want to preserve your culture, you're preserving your culture on a land that belongs to South Africans.
The land here, we bought, we paid for it.
From who?
Well, at that stage, we bought it from the previous owner, which was the government. Right?
I don't think an African can leave Africa, go to Europe, and say that we just bought this land and no one is allowed to come in.
Our name is Afrikaners. Our language is Afrikaans. Right. So we feel part of this continent, and maybe people don't agree, but I don't have another home. I'm obviously I know that I have European roots.
Yeah.
400 years ago.
Yeah.
For 400 years, my people have been here.
Yeah.
I love Africa. I don't want to live anyplace else. I feel a part of this continent. My language grew, obviously from Dutch, but it grew on this continent.
With all the monument that I see in here, would you agree with me if I say that this man performed a lot of atrocities in the past?
Well, I think obviously these are controversial figures, and I think the fact that we put them here in Orania with our own funding, some people are uncomfortable in the rest of South Africa to care for them, to see them in public, because this is on private land, private funds, and it's our history.
But I know it's your history, but at the end of the day, a lot of people were harmed in the process. You don't think if you are embracing this, you're definitely embracing apartheid?
Is it okay to celebrate Shaka Zulu leader? You know who that is?
I know who Shaka Zulu is.
He killed a lot of people. Is it fine to celebrate him?
That's a question for South Africans.
That is a question. This is a question for Iranians.
He was more like the architect for apartheid. Do you agree with that?
I agree with the fact that he implemented a lot of policies in the apartheid era.
You don't think it's because of this that's why people have problems with it? It's because so many South Africans are not happy with this history, even though it's part of them. But I believe, like you just said, let the past be past. I mean, we can never forget our history. But I mean, I feel like this being here, it's more like what do you call it? Like a sword in the eyes of the people of South Africa.
I don't think so.
Do you believe that whatever you guys are practicing here is racism?
I do not believe that we are practicing racism. To tell you the truth, I've said it many times that if the question is, are there racists in Orania? I can assure you they are. There are racists in every town in South Africa, and every country in the world will find racists. That is a fact. The Orania model is a model of cultural preservation, and that is not racist. So you might disagree with me, but my personal belief, my honest belief, is that the Orania model is not racist at all. It is, however, a model to preserve something that we hold dear and to create a future where we can live our values, our religion, our language, and share our culture.
If you check when South Africa gained independence, if you check the coat of arms of...
It's long, but...
the whole thing, people should look at it. I thought it was going to be the YouTube.
Sorry,
yeah, it is on YouTube. Please watch the whole thing. It's not satire at all. It is so fascinating, and again, an absolute case study for white psychosis, that you could think that you can, and they did, because again, remember, as we were talking, it's like full circle. They basically thoroughly colonized South Africa, and if they had won and were able to populate and kill enough Africans, South Africa would be like America, and it would be like, this is just white people that are there. But they weren't able to do that. There was just a sheer force of Black people and their will and resilience to actually overthrow a system of colonization, to apartheid, to just taking all of the land. But now they have freedom. Why are they there? Like, literally, that shouldn't be the case, because African Americans weren't able to do that anywhere. What did they do? They bombed them. Now, I'm not advocating violence on these guys, but generally, other communities, when you try and self-determine within their land, they get rid of you. Why are Africans allowing this to take place?
He said, you know, it's our land. We bought this land. Who did you buy the land from? Well, the government at the time. Which government? Let's talk about that. Oh, yes, of course, like, we speak our language. Okay. It is influenced by the Dutch. It has come from that. Okay. So you've got these statues of of people who built these horrendous systems, and you don't think that's a problem. Yes, you know, people might think there's an issue with it, but it's our history. We're proud of, like, there are some sick people out there.
I think Ade Atepatan went there as well on the BBC show, and I think people were criticizing his I don't know, I think he said he was overwhelmed even being there, and they said they didn't take him to task. There's something a little bit like, what's going to change, because we can highlight it, but what's going to change? That'd be very interesting to see. How do you what do people want? Because I think it's disgusting. We think it's disgusting, but it's existing, and they're thriving and they're growing. Imagine.
So that's the part that makes me scared. That's you see that part, because that's how it fucking starts.
Yeah.
If you look anywhere, that's how it starts. They pitch tent somewhere, they call it theirs, they say they bought it from somebody, or it's theirs now, and then they expand, they colonize. That's what happens. Their territories grow. So
and this is the point that you made about Shaka Zulu. What about was like, are you okay?
I so wanted Wudamaya to be like, but Shaka Zulu was killing people who were basically trying to take land and were killing his people. That's why he killed them. They all should have done that. First people landed. They needed to be eradicated. How would you ever have thought that these people that have come along were going to do such violence to you? And then 400 years later, their descendants are so flipping feral. They're talking about we love Africa. This is our land, that we have nowhere else to go. Yeah, we were speaking Dutch. Go back to Holland. Go back to where you came from. Like, what the hell is this?
Like, we don't know anything else. We feel a deep connection to this continent. You feel a deep connection to the continent, but you don't want to integrate into the continent. You want to have your own little place, your own people, and say that it's totally fine. And
mate, the wildness of the unmitigated gall of him standing in front of a black man talking about this is our land that we bought from you guys, but it's ours and you can't come and live here. Really, really.
And it's like the black guy said, like, I can't go to Europe and buy land and say this is going to be Blacktonia. I can't do it.
Let's try that. We couldn't even do that in Brixton. We couldn't even have an area that was
Brixton.
We're not even allowed our own. Whenever there's too many blacks congregating, and especially in the UK, we don't. This is the difference again. We're talking about our differences and similarities, but our differences in the UK, to have a black town is impossible at this point. To try even having black schools is a problem. Trying to go to the
even having carnival is a fucking problem for them.
Having a black nightclub
is
a problem. So we're talking about the psychosis of white folks, definitely, and we're on a trajectory of the craziness of white men. So in America, again, we have Joy-Ann Reid, whose show was cancelled by NBC, and there's a conversation about the fact that there's a lot of black presenters who are being cancelled or having shows cancelled, their voice removed, and in general, I won't just say black, non-white as well, and those who have been vocal about protesting about things like what's going on in Palestine and Gaza and stuff like that. So there's a conversation there. So we're having a conversation amongst ourselves, right? Black people are talking amongst themselves about the horrors of what's going on. In comes Mr. Michael Rappaport, who I don't know why he's been given an invite to
give him the airtime.
I don't understand, but this is what he was saying.
A lot of discussion about Joyless Joy Reid. Joyless Joy Reid, her show got canceled. And I don't scoff at anybody in show business, because she essentially is a performer. It wasn't a news show. It was a personal commentary show on a news network, MSNBC. I don't laugh at people losing their jobs, although she's still at the network. But the show itself, one of the reasons why the show got canceled is because people didn't watch. And I'm sure they ran it up the flagpole. Oh, should we cancel Joyless Joy Reid during Black History Month? They had to stop the financial bleeding. And you people that are complaining about Joyless Joy Reid's show getting canceled, did you watch? I see more people complaining about Joyless Joy Reid's show getting canceled than were actually watching Joyless Joy Reid's show. Okay? You should have been watching the show, and she wouldn't have gotten the show canceled.
Cool. Does he work for MSNBC?
Does he have
like, what? Why? How did he get into the community? Maybe our African American friends can tell us. Like, what did this man do? Did he do a documentary or something? I feel like I know this answer actually. He did a documentary on somebody. I think that was when he came into the zeitgeist in Black Spaces.
He was also in Higher Learning. Was it Higher Learning that he played the kind of racist boy that was a bit disturbed? And ever since he was in a 90s black popular film, he then became kind of like had a little bit of rubbing shoulders with he had a black wife. That's another one, Cher. Yes, he had a black wife.
Okay, so he has a black wife. Oh, okay. Okay.
It's really tough because, again, the export, this is what we see. I don't understand why he's talking, because I mean, there's conversations. Yes, people are saying that. I think it was Mark Lamont Hill said it's not about the ratings. It really wasn't. And the readout was cancelled as a part of a broader over. I don't know why he's calling her Joyless, being very disrespectful as well, saying Joyless.
Yeah, like why is he calling her Joyless Joy Reid?
Like that. I don't understand. This part I don't understand why he's talking about her like this. Has she cussed him out or whatever? What is that? But the readout was cancelled as a part of a broader overhaul that also saw the acting of Alex Wagner, John F. Capehart, Ayman Moyeledin and Katie Fang, all black or brown hosts. But the restructuring has sparked outrage from media figures like Rachel Maddow has spoken out against it, and Keith Olbermann, labeling the move brutally racist. So there's white presenters that are saying this is a racist move. They are bringing new shows with Simone Townsend, Michael Steele, and Alicia Menendez, with Menendez set to be the first Latina in MSNBC primetime. So they're kind of taking out the old non-whites and bringing in some new non-whites.
Some new, yeah. Right. I think they are switching over the guard. Cher says your aunties could never see what happens when you invite everyone to the cookout to eat soul food.
Honestly, I understand we're not amongst ourselves. Let's gatekeep other people out of here.
His words don't mean anything anyway. We've got 15 minutes left. Can we do a bit of nonsense with Nana AKUA and her news, her nice news? You're on mute.
Yes, I put myself on mute so I don't have mad noises coming out. I didn't realize Farrah had gone. 1 second, talk amongst yourselves. Yes,
all right, guys. Okay, so he was in higher learning. Did somebody say white man can't jump? Something like that. White boy can't jump. They're asking, was he in that? And he was in Bamboozled. Okay, so he's been around. That's why he's in our community. All right, cool. Let's see. Little Rock says, AK, will you be doing Nana's wedding hairstyle? If she came to you, if Nana AKUA did actually ask for your services to do her hair, would you do it? You're still on mute.
How much she pay me? No, would I do her hair?
If she was going to give you £1,000 to style her for her wedding, would you take on the job?
It'd have to be more. Absolutely have to be more. I'd be charging more. I would charge more. I would charge more first and foremost. Would I say no? That's an interesting one because I don't agree with your morals. I've cussed you out. Have you seen all my clips and videos on you?
She's seen it all. She's still like, I still think you are the best hairdresser in the world.
Oh, then fine. If you think I'm the best hairdresser in the world, I'll be like, yeah, I did Nana AKUA's hair and I still cussed her. As long as I can be honest about it and I'm not like showing that I'm being a hypocrite. If I can be like, she's seen my videos, she still wants me to do her hair, she knows how I feel, and we were able to have a conversation, I was able to let her know, like, what the fuck are you doing? Then that's a service. I provided it, I got paid, and I was honest. That's the only way I could like be like, yes. But also, if I couldn't be like that and she's offering me like 10 grand and bags and it starts to get a bit, she's not a political leader. She's a stupid mouth.
I love it. The caveats come in. I can do it.
Yeah, the caveats are coming. The caveats come in when the price goes up, innit? That's basically what it is.
All right, let's see our video.
Amazing. You look amazing. Beautiful. So beautiful.
Now, what I know is,
but the thing is,
this is the best wig I've ever seen on her.
Yeah,
I didn't know that. Yeah. I didn't know she owned a wig like that.
Yeah. She's getting better. Now, guys who don't know, she's a TV pundit. She's on GB News, which is the UK equivalent of Fox News.
Yeah.
And she's a Candace Owens type person from the UK. And she does, she speaks out about, she's basically right wing. She's right wing, she's black, she's an apologist for white supremacy, and that's what she does. And she usually,
she's a gatekeeper, not a gatekeeper. She's a vessel. That's what Charlotte. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
but your sound has gone funny again.
Okay. I'll try and fix it.
It's better now. It's better now.
She's a vessel for white supremacy.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. That is her in a nutshell. She says, Cher says she's Candice, but with edges. We don't even know she's got edges though.
We don't.
Or do you mean with no edges? Because we ain't never seen her natural hair.
Yeah,
we don't know what's underneath that wig.
The big thing is that she's announced her engagement. Is an ex-prisoner. Let's see.
Is for you. Would you like to meet my fiance? Bet you've been wondering who it is, yeah?
Oh.
Nobody has any idea. All right. Here he is.
Oh, lovely. Amazing woman. Oh, well done, Nana.
Do you know who that is?
Steve.
Oh, I hate it. I hate we have the same name. I hate it.
He was many years ago, but he's completely reformed and turned his life around. So I have a surprise.
She said he was a prisoner and he's turned his life around. No shaming, because I know prisoners have turned their life around, but because of who she is, it's a very interesting turn of events.
Maya, she is probably in her 40s, and they actually met on GB News as well. So she interviewed him, and then they carried on their relationship from there. I would say that this is nonsense, but you know, I was surprised that she had found a man. True, honestly, I was surprised.
I'm not surprised because, as they say, what do they say about the black woman? When your wig's askew, you probably
hard wig, soft life.
Yes, what hard wigs, soft life.
She's 53.
Yeah, literally.
Is she 53? I thought she was in her 40s.
No, she's 53.
53.
I mean, look, people.
She's aging in a way, but I did think she was in her 40s. That's so surprising because her trajectory on TV. I'm thinking that, you know, when she used to do like the late night stuff, I thought she was younger because that was usually a younger person's role, like trying to become a presenter, like what Leah used to do, you know, like the kind of gambling shows.
Yeah.
She was always doing that. So I really didn't think she was in her 50s, but her look makes more sense now that I know that she's in her 50s.
She's known for saying that taking the knee is an example of virtue signaling.
Yeah.
Sorry.
She says, if you know, like when there was a whole taking the knee thing, she said it is virtue signaling. And she has called Black Lives Matter far left Marxist pressure group and political organization.
She's that chick.
She's that chick.
Will Smith, get out of here. He said she looks good. For who?
She don't.
She doesn't.
She don't. That is the best she's ever looked.
In her engagement announcement, she looked good for her.
That one.
She looked good.
Yeah.
Back on the news, she looked like regular Nana AKUA, whatever your name is. That's what she looked the same. She looked like her wig she's not taken off since her engagement announcement.
Yeah. Like she sleeps in her wig. She just fluffs it.
You know she does. She don't want that man to see her without a wig. Are you crazy?
Listen, just to move on, we can't save her. Another piece of nonsense. I wanted to know if you guys would trust this man again. Why does it always fucking do this to me?
It's electronic hip hop, pop, and rock. However, it's not just music. We might have a professional skateboarder do a demonstration. You might have an MMA champion teach you techniques in the morning. And
you say we might have. Are any of these? Are they booked?
Well, I think what makes Fire so cool is that we are selling the experience of Fire. I want to be one of the first festivals that can sell out with no artists.
But you do have them booked.
We're announcing the artists over the next few months. So I'm not in charge of booking the talent.
Will these be A-list names that are involved?
I really hope so, and I expect so from our conversations. We're going to have artists across electronic, hip-hop.
So the founder of the controversial Fire Festival, Billy McFarland, speaks exclusively to Today about the return of the event. Fire 2 is real. My dream is finally becoming a reality, he said. Fire Festival 2 will take place in Isla Mujeres, Mexico. The festival was bumped back a month and is now slated to run from May 30th to June 2nd. No artists have been announced as taking part in the event yet. Would you guys trust Billy? Are you going to go to Fire Festival 2?
Has he got Mike working on it again? if Mike is back working on it, then people buy a ticket because Mike will try and make it happen, whatever.
Mike will take 1, 2, 3 for the team. But hold on, he just was on the news saying, or the interview, saying, we might have these people. We don't have anyone booked yet. I want to be the first festival that sells out before we have any names booked. Like,
and it's in May, or is he saying it's May next year?
Funny.
Not sure. It just said it's in May. This is another gamble. It could be a gamble, guys. Book it. You don't know what year it could be, but just book it. Trust me. It's a fact they said we might have skateboard demonstrations.
We might.
What?
We might.
That's probably what you're gonna have at the festival. Is skateboard demonstrations.
So anyway, that was.
Oh, Billy, out of prison, still locked in your psychosis. It's amazing.
Who
hangs out with Billy though? Who is the people that are working with him? Like, who's the team?
Who's the team?
Madness.
Well, Cher says I would buy the ticket to resell to the white folks. I mean, the annoying thing is, there's going to be black people that are going to go and buy the tickets same way. Like, guys, this is not our conversation. It's not our concert. It's not our festival. I beg. I wonder who will be with black spokesman this time. Because he's definitely going. Anyway, so guys, that was news and nonsense. We had a lot of, I think the debate between black Americans and blacks around the world is nonsense because we shouldn't be infighting, but it's news. The news part is let's educate ourselves about our similarities. Hold on dear to your differences, but our similarities are what makes us stronger in the face of the bigger enemy, which is white supremacy, I believe.
Yes,
me too.
Donald Trump is a whole nonsense, but it's also news. We've got to be aware of what's going on because the way that these people are moving, these men are moving, is that we're getting closer to World War III or the threat of it. So we need to be stand guard, gird our loins, and be totally aware about where we're going to run off to. And hey, guys, as Ghana is doing and other other African countries, offering citizenship to anybody. You understand? So you can actually take yourself.
You don't have to stay here. No, get your passports up. You don't need to stay here.
I think that is part of definitely my mission now online is to continuously keep on saying you are not in bondage to the West in any way.
Woman that I put
let us fly.
What's she from?
Let us
leave. In our group. And she's been interviewed the other day. I put it in our group, and she was saying that just know that there's other places that you can go to.
It was an actress. Yeah,
it was an actress.
We don't have to stay in our places. Let's leave.
Exactly. We spoke about Ibrahim Traore. I need to get his name proper. What he's doing is great, explaining the West, but we have to be concerned. That's news because we have to watch, though Africa can be trying to find its independence, we still need to be wary of the trauma and issues that we have had with certain leaders and what they have done to the countries that they rule over. It's not always been peace and love, and it's not always been democratic. So yes to independence, no to a reinvigorated dictatorship type way. Yes, I think what else we got? What else was there? And then news, obviously, AKUA and what's his name? Billy probably should marry each other. How about that?
we had the white South Africans trying to recolonize South Africa.
That's news. It's nonsense. It's nonsense. It's nonsense behavior, but it's very much news because we actually have to watch how this grows.
Yeah, we do.
Yes, definitely.
We do.
Before we go, can we just tell the people our rundown of shows so that they know how to catch us? So I think there's a lot of new people in the chat and watching us that may not know about Your Aunties Could Never, and now they do.
Okay,
what do you guys want to be on?
Okay, guys, so we are Your Aunties Could Never. This is 3 of us. There are 4 of us. We have on a Tuesday at 1 p.m. Nana, what do?
We do Labrish, and that is me and Sade, and we talk about all things reality TV. At the moment, we are focused on Love is Blind Season 8. That is the US version of Love is Blind. We'll be recapping that and reviewing.
And then on a weekday, we have our main show, Your Aunties Could Never. Farrah, tell us about Your Aunties Could Never.
So we do Your Aunties Could Never, and that is a show that goes out on normally a Friday evening. It will go out. If you're lucky, you might get it at 12 o'clock on a Friday, but usually it goes out on a Friday evening, and that's all 4 of us in the studio chopping it up about who our enemies of progress are. And we tend to have a guest as well. So if you want to see the extra aunties episodes with the guests that we have on, then you need to subscribe to our membership.
And finally, as you're all here with us, as we've said, news and nonsense at noon, where we get into the news of the week and we chop it up and figure out what's news and what's nonsense. That's with myself, Farrah, and Nana. And we go live at noon UK time, GMT. Join us. All are welcome. We chop it up, we discuss, and we set you right for the rest of the week. And absolutely, RIP to Angie Stone.
Angie Stone.
A lot of
staple in our lives.
Celine Dion is saying, I'm off to buy Farrah's t-shirt, but definitely I just wanted to add about Angie Stone. I was out with my girls yesterday and we were in a jungle rave. One of my you also see I have another pod, the Queen Ages, and Sharona was actually on stage performing. She came off and then another lady came on and was like, R.I.P. Angie Stone. We're all in a club, so we don't know. And we're like, has she got it wrong? Because she was Caucasian. So we also was a bit like, is she saying somebody else? Get on our phones. Literally just all burst into tears.
Yeah.
It was so shocking. Just, you know, it wasn't too long ago seeing her talking about what was going on and the music industry taking money from her. It was just heartbreaking that she didn't get justice and her money as well. Like it's definitely gone too soon.
100%.
Oh wow! Serena says her son with D'Angelo celebrated his 28th on the 28th and lost his mother the next day. That's
wild.
So we've lost a lot of greats. Gwen McRae, Roberta Flack. So lots of love to anyone who's lost anyone recently, and hearts and thoughts and prayers and love goes out to anyone who's suffering grief at this time. That's been News and Nonsense, my guys. Have a wonderful Sunday. Take care and goodbye.
See you in the week.
Stay blessed.
And stay black.
Yes, wherever you're from.